Right, let's just get straight into it. The 2026 World Cup has completely ripped up the rulebook for international soccer, turning the knockout stages into this unprecedented test of endurance. For those of us who thought we knew the traditional rhythm and flow of the beautiful game, well, this tournament has thrown all of those historical expectations right out the window. We're literally witnessing a physical and tactical crucible, unlike anything in the sport's history.
We're talking about a mind-bending 104 matches crammed into just 39 days. To put that into perspective for you, that's not just a schedule tweak, it's a monumental leap in volume that fundamentally changes the logistical and physiological landscape of the tournament. The World Cup is no longer just a sprint to the finish, it's a brutal marathon of attrition.
And here's the real kicker. To lift that trophy, teams now have to survive an 8-match gauntlet instead of the traditional 7. I mean, it sounds like just one extra game, right? But mathematically and physically, adding that additional sudden death round completely flips tournament strategy on its head. Managers can't just rely on a small core of 11 guys anymore. Squad depth isn't just a nice advantage to have, it's absolute survival.
So, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the absolute chaos of this new format. We'll look at the 48-team crucible, the dramatic fall of the co-hosts, some wild tactical shifts and shocks, the sheer toll of expansion, and finally, we'll preview the quarterfinal matchups.
Okay, starting with part 1, the 48-team crucible. Dropping the round of 32 into the mix didn't just pad the calendar. It basically built a high-stakes, single-elimination pressure cooker right out of the group stage. A lot of teams were caught totally off guard by this. Traditional powerhouses, who normally use that first knockout match to sort of find their final gear, were suddenly facing do-or-die scenarios against highly motivated, defensive-minded underdogs way earlier than they're used to.
Which brings us to part 2, the fall of the co-hosts.
Now, historically, playing on home soil practically guarantees a deep run, but not this time. Despite having roaring crowds behind them, the results were honestly brutal. Canada gets blanked 3-0 by Morocco, Mexico drops a chaotic 3-2 thriller to England, and the USA routed 4-1 by a totally resurgent Belgium. That's a combined 10 goals conceded across 3 elimination matches. Just wild. So, why the total collapse? Well, our sources point to something pretty fascinating. You combine the massive logistical nightmare of travel with the crushing psychological pressure of expectant home crowds, and boom, traditional home field advantage is completely neutralized. These teams were exhausted, stretched thin, and just buckling under the weight of an expanded tournament. Turns out, flying across 3 massive sovereign nations in a matter of days really isn't great for the legs.
Moving right along to part 3, tactical shifts and shocks.
Guys, the round of 32 was just pure, unfiltered chaos. I mean, look at this. Paraguay stuns Germany on penalties after a really gritty 1-1 draw in Boston. Colombia survives an absolute rock fight of a 1-0 match against Ghana. And South Africa, they made incredible history at SoFi Stadium, beating South Korea 1-0 to get to their first ever knockout phase. The gap between the giants and the underdogs has drastically narrowed.
And the fallout? Oh, it was immediate and severe. We saw high-profile managers losing their jobs almost overnight. Germany's Julian Nagelsmann stepped down after a 3rd straight tournament where they failed to reach the latter stages, sending the federation scrambling for Jurgen Klopp. And veteran coach Carlos Queiroz, he resigned from Ghana right in the immediate aftermath. The margins for error have completely vanished.
That leads us right into part 4, the toll of expansion.
Now, this really begs a massive question for our explainer today. Why exactly are global heavyweights, teams like Brazil, who fell 2-1 to Norway, and Portugal, facing such early, painful exits in the round of 16? These are squads absolutely packed with Champions League winners, yet they look totally out of gas when it mattered most.
The answer is just sheer, brutal attrition. These players are navigating a relentless 39-day schedule. They're dealing with crazy physiological stress, like playing at the Azteca, which is literally 2,240 meters above sea level, and then immediately enduring these massive flights down to muggy, sea-level venues like Miami. Add that extra round of 32 match into their legs, and you've got a perfect recipe for heavyweights collapsing from pure physical exhaustion.
And that perfectly sets the stage for part 5, the quarterfinal matchups.
This is just staggering. After all this talk of global expansion, Europe is absolutely dominating the remaining field. UEFA claims 6 of the 8 spots. That leaves exactly 1 representative for South America, Argentina, and 1 for Africa, Morocco. That deep European talent pool has proven to be the ultimate shield against the tournament's grueling new format.
All right, let's break down these matchups. Our first quarterfinal clash is a total blockbuster. France taking on Morocco, live in Boston. The history on the line here is incredible. It's a hugely anticipated rematch of the 2022 semifinals, which France took 2-0. But Morocco, they just made history again as the very first African team to reach back-to-back World Cup quarterfinals after completely dismantling Canada 3-0. They are a defensive fortress, setting up this epic, high-speed duel with Kylian Mbappe. Next up, we've got a truly fascinating showdown down in Miami. It's Norway taking on England.
Norway is riding this massive emotional high, right? They're on a historic Cinderella run after Erling Haaland's stunning brace shocked Brazil 2-1. On the flip side, England's manager, Thomas Tuchel, is under immense pressure. Despite Jude Bellingham's recent late heroics against Mexico in that fiery 3-2 win, a loss to a team ranked 14 spots below them would basically be considered a national disaster for the Three Lions.
Then we head over to Kansas City. The reigning champions, Argentina, are squaring off against a super resilient Switzerland squad. Switzerland is buzzing. They just reached their first quarterfinal since 1954 after surviving a tense goalless draw and beating Colombia on penalties.
But let's be real. The main storyline here is Argentina. They just pulled off this miraculous heart-stopping comeback from 2-0 down against Egypt to win 3-2. And as our sources highlight perfectly, Lionel Messi is now chasing absolute immortality. He's trying to become the first player in history to win 2 World Cups while wearing the captain's armband. This is his final dance, and the stakes literally could not be higher.
Finally, we have this heavyweight, all-European clash, Belgium taking on Spain. Belgium violently punished the USA 4-1, proving a lot of doubters wrong. Meanwhile, Spain rolls in after that grinding, dramatic 91st-minute winner from Mikel Merino, the one that painfully ended Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup career for good. 2 vastly different styles, 1 massive ticket to the semifinals. So, as we look ahead to crowning a champion and process all these dramatic shifts, we have to ask ourselves a pretty massive question. Does this thrilling, wildly chaotic 104-match format represent the glorious, inclusive future of global soccer, or is the brutal physical toll on the players just way too high? The drama is undeniably unmatched, but the cost is profound. What do you guys think? Keep that in mind as we watch these incredible quarterfinals unfold.